Good Wednesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I am the host for South Carolina Weather, Jesse Peterson. Let's go ahead and start off with the weather for your Wednesday evening. Looking down at South Carolina right now, we do have some precipitation over the coast right now. Thank you if you said bless you. Um, but here we go. As we look at the coast, we're going to go ahead and zoom in. We do have some precipitation moving off towards the coast right now. Um, and those storms that was impacting mainly this region that I kind of circled in is now moving off as well. We still have some heavy rain up there near Myrtle Beach and up there getting into Wilmington now, but everything else is looking pretty good. Um, Here is our full map. I mean, just look at this huge system that's bringing rain from the entire state of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, most of New York, Pennsylvania, um, West Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C. I mean, everything is getting taken over by this system right there. Florida's getting some action. Georgia's getting some action. Texas over here is getting some action, as well as Mexico. We do have a new system up here that's bringing some moisture up into the northern Midwest, bringing snow to Canada and maybe some isolated snow up here inside South Dakota. We also do have some rain heading into California now, and we do have this moisture here inside of Texas that probably will be turning severe soon. Probably like late tonight. So if you know anybody inside of Texas, I'll show y'all later actually. You can let them know. Here's our cloud cover right now. Obviously, you may see some blues on the map. The blues represent fog, so I do think that there will be some patchy fog inside of South Carolina tonight. So make sure that if you're out driving that you're paying attention and you got your fog lights on. And we also do have cloud cover still obviously by Myrtle Beach, but that's going to move off. Other than that though, I mean, if you don't count Myrtle Beach, Florence, Georgetown, everyone else is clear right now unless you have fog. Then no, you're not clear, but if you're in the places that have no fog right now, you're nice and clear. That system has completely cleared you. So that is a great thing. And it will be like this tomorrow as well. So tomorrow will be kind of like a bit of a partly sunny day. Um, but here is our current temperatures right now. Current temperature, even though that system came by and it brought that heavy rain, we still have temperatures in the 60s for Columbia, for Charleston, Moncks Corner, Walterboro, Beaufort, up through to Myrtle Beach. We do have temperatures in the high to mid 50s for the Midlands, for Columbia, Newberry, Greenwood, Rock Hill, Winnsboro, and we start to get into the mid to low 50s for like Greenville, Anderson, Walhalla, Union, the upstate. So that is our current temperatures, in which we go to our minimum temperatures. We do have those temperatures for tonight reaching around the high 40s for up there in the upstate, around low 40s to mid, low 50s to maybe mid 50s for the Midlands, and then maybe even some low to mid, some high to mid 50s for the coast. So that is that. Here is the 24-hour max wind gust in miles per hour. We can have those gusts reach around 10 to 15 miles an hour throughout the upstate and the Midlands and the Low Country and the PD region, pretty much everyone, for tomorrow as well. And here's our precipitation starting at 7 p.m., ending at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Obviously, we could still see a good half an inch of rainfall inside this region, inside the blue whitish region. Maybe some isolated inches out there. Also, according to my precipitation gauge thing, my rain gauge here, I did have a rain report of 1.6 inches. Yes. So here where I am, we got around 1.6 inches of rain. My other weather station says 1.4, so it's kind of near 1.6, 1.4 ish. And if I check again, it actually says 1.55. So it decreased a little bit, but because the way how my new one works, if you don't know already, it will adjust sometimes. So like, okay, maybe that it didn't rain that much. It will kind of like subtract and try to pull itself back a little bit. So it says 1.55, and my old one, the one that I had first, has 1.37. So it does have a bit of a difference, but not really too much of a difference if you was to round up 1.4, 1.6. So I could definitely say for sure around 1.5 inches of rain to where I am. So, anyways, continuing on, here is our max. I shouldn't even say max. Here's our models for the next 18 hours, I should say. But I'm gonna actually push the model back, so we will go back to the 0Z. To get the full 48 hours. Maybe it will bring us into Saturday. If we push this forward some more, we do have that precipitation moving off. And then we're going to be inside of a bit of a warm bubble, some quiet period of weather tomorrow. And if we push this forward some more, there goes some showers potentially reaching us by Friday night. Well, I shouldn't even say Friday night. I should say that looks to be kind of like Friday morning going into Friday afternoon for parts of the upstate and maybe northern South Carolina. And then here we go late Friday. Those rain starts to kind of like fizzle out, but also kind of like stay there for the upstate. And then there goes the big batch of rain that we're watching, and it has not reached us yet. So unless you're in the upstate or the Midlands, potential for some rain tomorrow. Maybe, well, I shouldn't even say tomorrow. I should say Friday. Potential for some rain Friday. Not really watching anything too big, but the majority of the rain will come on Saturday. That's the day that we're watching, as y'all know, which is why I'm about to show y'all the SPC outlook, which there is a marginal risk of severe weather for Dallas, Fort Worth, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Arlington, Texas, and Wichita, Kansas tonight. Let's see if you look at the risk, there's no chance for a tornado. There is a 5% chance of damaging winds and a 5% chance of damaging hail, with hail seeming to be the main threat with this system. So we are watching for that hail specifically. Here is tomorrow's forecast, or tomorrow's Storm Prediction Center outlook. We do have a 2% chance of tornadoes for Abilene, Texas, Wichita, Falls, Lawton, Oklahoma, and San Angelo, Texas, as well as Otis. I don't know how you say that. It's Altus, Oklahoma. So if you know anybody inside those places, Fort Sill is in there. Just south of Woodward, Oklahoma. If you know anybody inside those areas, please let them know that a tornado is possible for them tomorrow. And then for Dallas, Austin, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, there is a 5% chance of seeing those damaging winds. And then this is the big part, the hail. So we do have a 15% chance of seeing hail for Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Wichita, and Plano, Texas. That is a slight risk of severe weather. There's a 15% chance of seeing hail of up to 1 inch in diameter. So, do you know anybody inside the Dallas, Fort Worth, the Wichita, Kansas, the Plano, Texas, the Woodward, Oklahoma, the Wichita Falls, Texas, or the Waco, Texas area? Let them know. And then we have a 5% chance for seeing that 1 inch in diameter hail for Austin, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, and Tyler, Texas. So if you know anybody inside those regions, tell them they have a 5% chance of seeing that hail tomorrow. And very interesting. If you look at the slight risk for Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Wichita, even though it is smaller, it does have a higher population than the 5% does. So that means even though it looks smaller, and it is smaller than the brown region, this yellow region right here has a bigger population in it than the brown region does, which is interesting. Though probably the only reason why is because of Dallas, Fort Worth is in there. So that's probably the majority reason of why. Here's day 3. This is the day that a lot of people are really watching for. Dixie Alley right here, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, Mobile, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi, Shreveport, Louisiana. Let's see. Lufkin, Texas, Waco, Texas, Dallas, again, Houston, Austin, Memphis, Tennessee, Fort Worth, Birmingham, Columbus, Georgia, just west of Tallahassee, seeing if anything else is in here, Tulsa, you might as well count them, Springfield, Missouri is in there, Jackson, Tennessee is in there. So if you know anybody inside of those regions, let them know that Friday is their day for getting the severe weather. Seems like, if we look at the reading, it says severe thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds are expected to spread eastward through the Arklatex region and the lower Mississippi Valley. So we'll talk about that more later, but we're not going to cover too much about it now. And here's our day 4. This is the risk that we thought was going to extend more into South Carolina. Honestly, I see a lot of people saying that they think for sure that it's probably going to extend more upward. But as of right now, as a 15% risk, it is only counting Florida, Alabama, Georgia right now. I don't think South Carolina is quite in it. And maybe that little tiny portion right there near Savannah is probably in it. But as of right now, we have nothing to worry about, but you also got to remember there's marginal risk as well. This yellow is the slight risk, so if this yellow is the slight risk, there's going to be a huge marginal surrounding it. So even though that there is a slight risk, and it's not over us right now, that does not mean that we're out of the woods yet and that we're clear yet. This could definitely uptrend a lot, and we're still 4 days out, so we're going to have to wait and see some more. Now let's go ahead and talk about the SPC, the CSU, and the CIPS. We talk about these models during the nighttime videos. But here's obviously day 1. We're not going to go over day 1 or day 2. Well, no, we're not going to go over day 2. Day 3 and day 4 and day 8 is the days that I want to talk about. So let's talk about day 3 first. Day 3, obviously, you can see the models here. There goes the SPC's model. We just saw this. This is the most reliable ones out of all of them. But if you look at the CSU is pointing out maybe the potential for some worse storms, if that makes sense, for some worser storms. I don't know if that's correct grammar for that, but supposed to be some pretty bad storms for Mississippi. Right here, and then we do have a slight risk right here surrounding it as well, and then we do have that marginal risk according to them that goes kind of like around it through almost down to Mexico. Now, is that going to happen? I'm not sure, but definitely for sure something that we're going to have to watch for. And this is just the CSU. They do this little red region right here, Mississippi, they do think has a higher probability of seeing some severe weather. Here is the CIPS. The CIPS does have a 30% risk for kind of like this little part where Louisiana kind of splits. And it's kind of just like open for Mississippi. And for this Mississippi region right here is what they're really watching for right here. What the CSU has, they're both actually kind of aligning something the same. And what do I mean by that? If you look at the 30% risk right here for Louisiana, look at the 30% here for Louisiana as well. And I think that's actually 30%. Yeah, so 30%, 30%. So we are watching for sure to see what happens, because anything could happen with this. This could uptrend, this could downtrend, and we might not have to worry about it. Or the SPC could add an enhanced risk, which would be the thing that they might have to do. But this is looking to be a pretty interesting thing, especially for Louisiana and Mississippi as well. So let's go ahead and go to day 4. This is our day. We do have a day 4 risk for that severe weather. Obviously, this is what the SPC has, the most reliable. The next reliable one I probably would go to is the CSU, because the CSU, it does have a slight risk that extends all the way through South Carolina. I mean, and then even a slight risk up here inside the Ohio Valley as well, inside of even Ohio itself. So, and then here we have our little red enhanced risk from them again. So honestly, we're just waiting to see what happened. We'll see obviously more tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a huge day for updates, and I'll definitely be there tomorrow night to cover it. But as of right now, tomorrow is going to be a huge day, because not only will this day 2 be revealed, the day 3 will turn into a day 2, so we'll start seeing the risk, and then this day 4 will turn to a day 3, so we'll see where the marginal risk are. We'll see where the where everything is, and I'm gonna show some wording actually from the National Weather Service of Charleston in like a couple of minutes after I'm done with this, but. Here's the CIPS. There is a 30% risk that they think for the border of Alabama and Georgia, mainly for Columbus, Georgia, and places like that. Dothan, Alabama is in there as well. So honestly, we're just waiting to see what happens. We have the 15% surrounding it going into South Carolina, and then the 10% that goes out. Not quite reaching Myrtle Beach, but it's getting quite close. So honestly, we're just gonna have to wait and see. The next thing I want to talk about is the day 8. Obviously, it's the day 8. Anything could change, but something interesting. The CIPS not pointing anything out. The SPC is not pointing anything out, but the CSU is pointing out. They think that potentially some isolated severe storms could pop up inside of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi. Not Mississippi. Well, yeah, Mississippi, Missouri, and Kansas. This is on March the 14th. So we are just waiting to see what happens with that as well. We'll see what the day 7 for it shows. We'll see if it's even still there, but you know how the CSU does. The CSU, as soon as it sees something, it's like, oh, well, let's go on ahead and jump on it. But here is the excessive rainfall outlook for tonight. Obviously, we still have that slight risk of excessive rainfall we talked about this morning for New York City, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, going up into Vermont and Maine, going down even close to North Carolina. And we do have that marginal risk as well. And then we do have that marginal risk for the California coast and for the Florida coast. Here's our day 2 excessive rainfall outlook. We do have a marginal risk of excessive rainfall for tomorrow for Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas. Little part of Louisiana is in there as well. Western Illinois is in there. Southern Iowa is in there. Southeastern Nebraska is in there. So watching for that. And then day 3 is the big day for us, especially because we do have a day 4 risk of excessive rainfall. A day 3 risk of excessive rainfall for the upstate of South Carolina, going into Atlanta, Georgia, all of Alabama, almost all of Mississippi, and most of Louisiana. And then we do have that marginal risk that surrounds it, goes through the Ohio Valley and through the Midwest, as well as going through the central U.S. and the Southeast, obviously, into the Carolinas. So honestly, a huge day for excessive rainfall and flash flooding on Friday, obviously. Day 4, though, we're going to have to watch for that as well, because obviously, as you know, that's Saturday. Saturday's the day that we've been watching. I've been warning y'all about Saturday almost since like Monday or Tuesday now. So honestly, if you just didn't know about it, well, I've been saying it. But obviously, we're going to have to wait again, and just see what happens. But here we go on the 6th for today. Let's go ahead and move on to we're just going to actually just move on past the day 3. Just go straight on to the day 4. And as the ARI is saying right now, the ARI is saying that not really too much is going to happen. Oh, I'm not even showing my screen for it. I'm over here. Okay. Here we go. All right. So this is what the ARI is saying. The ARI is saying that we will have a marginal risk of excessive rainfall for day 4. I actually think, I don't know if they have it or not yet, because I'm not, let me see, day 4. Do they have it up? They do. All right. So even the WPC has us under a day 4 risk of excessive rainfall for pretty much all of South Carolina. I'm just going to say all of South Carolina is inside of this marginal risk. Even if you're inside like this little tip right here, it doesn't matter. You're considered in it. But the point is that excessive rainfall is possible for the upstate for day 3 and possibly the Midlands. And then for the day 4, all of South Carolina is included. If we go on ahead and move on to the day 5 doesn't show anything at all. If we go to the UFVS for the day 5, they don't show anything. If we go to the day 4, they're showing a lot, like they're being way more aggressive than the ARI, showing a slight risk of excessive rainfall for South Carolina. We're gonna have to see what happens. So we're just gonna have to wait. This is just some precipitation in millimeters, and it's not really. You don't really need it. And then that's gonna be about it. So if you go to the excessive rainfall thing, I don't think that they are. Go to the previous day, day 8. I don't think they're showing anything for day 7, day 8, day 7. Yeah, no, they're not showing nothing. All right. Now let's go ahead and move on to our last segment, which is the GFS, going through to the future, seeing what the future holds for us. We push this forward. There goes that system, and there goes this system right here that's potentially going to bring. I'm really watching for flash flooding. Severe weather obviously is a threat, but we are getting to the point now to where we can start looking at even the midterm models. Right now, we can look at the long-term models right now. Like if we go to the ECM, the European model, this is what the European model shows. Shows a kind of a bit more of a linear type system with this, potentially bringing some severe storms, potentially. But this is what the Euro is saying. This is more of a midterm model for the 18Z. The 12Z is when it gets to the long range. The 18Z, this is just the short range. But we're here for the long range. But I think definitely by tomorrow, I think for sure we will be able to get those mid to short term models in. So, going on ahead and moving this forward some more, we get a bit of a break. And then we have this huge system right here that's probably potentially going to bring some severe weather on March the 17th. Just watching for that. If we go on ahead and check out the precipitation, not the precipitation, the moisture with it. Moisture, we had those dew points in the 60s. If we go on ahead and check the 850 millibar wind, are those winds there? Yes, those winds are there. They're bringing those big troughs in, bringing us some very high wind shear. So the wind shear is there, the dew points is there. Will the Cape be there? We're about to check that out now. The Cape is there for sure. The Cape is there. So honestly, I think our next day to watch for is March the 17th. As already, they're already showing high dew points. They're showing high dew points. They're showing high wind shear, and they're showing high Cape. So we're just gonna have to continue and watch for that. Still way too far out though. So let's go ahead and continue. Push that forward, and actually I kind of like that real quick. Oh no, but that doesn't show the snow. Yeah, that's better. Okay, yeah, I kind of like this better because it doesn't show like a whole like those red and blue lines. Kind of a bit more simpler for y'all to understand and see. So if we go ahead and move this forward some more, you see there goes the system right there passing us on the 17th. And then we have this system right here that's potentially going to bring some snow to like the Ohio Valley, the Appalachian Mountains, maybe even the Northeast. And then we have another atmospheric river that hits California. As you can see, look at this. California's going to get a bit of a break. Like right now, they're not. But after this one system hits right here, watch this. From March the 14th all the way through to like March the 20th. Some parts of California might not see a drop of rain for 6 days. That is very different from what they've been experiencing. So from the 14th to the 20th, California will be receiving a very needed break after all of the rain that they have gotten. And everything else is 300 hours out, so we're not going to go ahead and go that far. But that's going to be about it. So thank y'all so much for watching the forecast for tonight. And I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Make sure that you hit the notification bell when you hit the subscribe button, because you won't know when my forecast comes out if you don't. And it can be very useful if you want to see it when it comes out. Please make sure that you share this as well to the people that are watching this, and share it to people. It doesn't matter. You can share it to them if they're in South Carolina. I know if you live inside of South Carolina, you know people inside of South Carolina. So it just take 2 seconds and just click the send button real quick. Just click the share button. If you know anybody outside of the state of South Carolina that you're like, oh, well, it might be cool just to see this kid as an aspiring meteorologist trying to do his thing out here. doing weather for South Carolina. So, might as well just send it over to somebody, just see what they think. Just try to get the interactions up. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all tomorrow morning with another forecast update.